This is Eye on Hong Kong with Key.
And this is Harminder, and we'll be discussing the top news for the week involving Hong Kong and China. And welcome to the 40th episode of Eye on Hong Kong. Welcome back, Key.
Hi.
Have a good trip?
Yes.
We're DJing today. We're actually DJing today. No,
I don't like it.
Well, in another studio we had to use today, so we got to use these headphones. And look at the cool mic I got.
Yes.
All right, so Article 1. We have the MPC chief. He says, hell no to any changes to the August 31st electoral reform decision. Zhang Dejang.
You sure that you're not reading the old news?
No,
like last year?
This was Monday, I believe, or Sunday that they.
Everybody knows that they won't change anything, right?
I know, but still, it's nice that they're confirming it. You know that saying hell no to any changes. I mean, apparently this is politics now. No compromise.
So nothing we can do about it.
No.
Okay.
So I don't see. Well, no. Then
Point taken.
Point taken. But then it ties into who was Li Fei. He was saying, well, then I'm not coming to talk to you. That's Article 3, and he's saying, well, since you pledged not to pass the reform package again by the Pan Democrats. That means I'm not going to come and talk to you. I mean, what do they plan to accomplish? It's like they want this not to pass.
I mean, when you do a negotiation, you always leave some room for people to, concede. But it seems that if you say that, oh, I'm not going to change anything, and then you come here to talk, what's the point of talking then?
I don't understand it. Like they want this passed, but at the same time, they're not doing anything to even a little bit of a concession as a gesture of good faith. But now the mentality by the CCP is any concession means a challenge to the party.
But the thing is that we had heard from Dream Bear, Lau Mong Hong, and he says that actually the decision is not really final and they can always change it.
Of course they can, but look at the front that they put up. Enough of this, any compromise is a challenge to the party or any compromise is weakness of the party. It's not. One country, two systems. Compromise is part of our system.
True.
Right? If you want to change our system, dictate to us what our system is, then you got to work within it. But they're like, no, we work in our system to dictate your system. This is not going to work.
So no way out. So the pandemic.
No, I mean there's still time. They can still compromise.
But I'm quite glad to see that all the pandemic people they having this pledge. It seems that they finally unified together and
27 out of what 28.
Even Wong Yok Man, Raymond Wong, and he joined the pledge too. And we also see other more radical legislators like People Power, and they all come together and sign the pledge. One more guy quite surprised me was Ronnie Tong.
Well, Ronnie Tong says in this incarnation it's not a good deal to pass. He's just saying, let's talk, have a compromise, right? But they don't even want to do that. So Ronnie Tong's like, fine, I'll veto it too. I mean, if last minute they said, all right, fine, we'll lower the threshold a third, I think that's really going to make those supposed moderates rethink about pass or not pass.
Well, when you say lower the nomination threshold, but then what about the when you nominate after that, then you have to vote for someone to go out to run this candidate. That's the different thing, right? You can nominate first, and then but at the same time, you have to wait for the nomination committee to allow you to go.
That's what I'm saying. That if they allow a third of the nominating committee. That's all you need to stand for election.
Okay.
That's a major concession. And I think that will break the deadlock. 50% is ridiculous.
Personally, will you accept that as
It's really hard.
Is it a genuine
that's
choice?
the thing. In principle, it's still a sham form of democracy, right? But at the same time, working in one country sham two systems, right? it is a major compromise.
Right.
But if we can start with a third, and then the next time we make bigger concessions again, like let's say we work on the legislature to make it more democratic, we make the nominating committee more democratic, get rid of the corporate votes, stuff like that, then yes, this is genuine progress.
But you believe that after this time, then we will still have a second round? This is not the final version?
Well, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. I don't know if it will be, right? Because so far the CCP does not show good faith ever.
And
that's its problem. It never shows good faith.
I mean, one thing that I still very worry about is the legislative election, because it's coming very soon too, in year 2017.
The following year, yeah.
Yeah, and then
no, 16.
16, and then and they have no change to the system, but we always thought that the functional constituency would have some changes, but so far nothing changed.
See, that's the thing. They're saying gradual, orderly progress with the looking at the current situation in Hong Kong, and I'm sitting there going, the current situation is you've taken so long that people are pissed.
Yeah, I mean, like last time in the year 2012, and they have these super seats, and then now
that went nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. We accepted that proposal. We compromised at that time.
No,
we did not.
The Democratic Party did, and that was a mistake.
And then now, no change, no progress.
Yeah. So, it's no progress then. That's not progress.
So what are we doing? Well, should we accept this? Should we, learn from the history that there will be no progress anymore?
See, you know what the problem is that if this package is passed, it's giving legitimacy to an illegitimate system. This is what people don't understand. The Pan-Democrats are doing a bad job at hammering the point home, is that by pocketing it first, accepting a bad deal first, so we can change it later, that gives legitimacy to an illegitimate system.
Right.
And that gives legitimacy to the CCP and the future's chief executive-elect saying, well, I have the mandate.
I think last week there's a teacher who, the government official like Carrie Lam and Rimsky Yun, they went to this forum and to talk with the teachers. One teacher actually stood up and said that he feel very sad about it because he couldn't be teaching the children about lie, because universal suffrage, the proposal now the government puts it forward is not universal suffrage, but they keep on saying that it's a universal suffrage. I do agree with that.
It's universal suffrage, but not real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People can still vote, yes, but you're voting for candidates that are not genuine. It's puppet A, puppet B, puppet C, or 3 flavors of cyanide, whatever you say.
But if you say that it's a real...
it's not real.
It's not, even using the phrase universal suffrage, it's also kind of defeated the spirit behind that, because you can also say that North Korea have the
they have universal suffrage. They do, but it's a sham. So does Iran. It's a sham.
So are we Hong Kong like North Korea?
It will be if we pass this package. Right?
I think you raised a very good point that the pandemic, they didn't do a very good job about the education or the impact of passing this system.
See, the problem is that the umbrella movement, right, did not do a good job in the information war. I said this so many times. They're good at confronting the police, charging barricades. They get their heads beaten in, right? But I'm just saying the spirit is there. If they put the same spirit in the information, going to districts, talking to the public, really hammering home their ideas, they could win the hearts and minds. They haven't won those, but they want to skip step A to go to step C. Step B to go to step C, sorry. That's a problem. So we'll go to Article 4, and there's an idea put forward by the HKU pollster,
right?
Dr. Robert Chung. He said, well, why don't we put the current package to a vote,
right?
A referendum. And, I think it's a great idea. Since the government continually says we have the majority support A, and the Pan-Democrat says we have the majority support B.
Right.
This could put final rest to the point. do the Hong Kong people really want?
But didn't we do it last year in June that we have this online referendum
The
thing
questioning is a little different, but I mean, let's really do this officially, where the government puts forward its cell job, and the pandemics put their cell job, and the public says, what do you want? Pocket it first or reject?
I do agree that it's a good idea, but
It's a great idea.
But the thing is that apparently he doesn't understand the mentality of the CCP. If they allow you to do a referendum, they are actually thinking that, oh, you guys will do a referendum for the independence of Hong Kong.
See, that's the problem. That's not true. You know, we don't want a referendum for the independence of Hong Kong. We can't legally do it anyways.
Not yet.
That's for a whole different time and story. But then you have Rim Ski Yoon, right, the Justice Secretary. He says, quote, there is no legal basis for us to have a referendum.
Exactly.
A referendum has no place in Hong Kong. Referendums are the essence of democracy.
So there's no legal basis for democracy.
Exactly. You just contradicted yourself. You say we want democracy, but then a very pure form of it you reject. See, this is why government officials and pro-establishment are so afraid to go on public forums and non-official or non-mainstream news, because they get hammered on these points and they cannot pull themselves out of the quicksand that they get into when they're asked questions like that.
Because
the reporters dare not ask them, or they just ignore the question.
Because they knew that they're actually lying.
I think so. I don't know if they can believe their own BS, or not. I don't know.
I don't know, how could they sell it when they don't? I mean, apparently they are very smart people. They should, know about it. It's not genuine choice for Hong Kong people.
Well, as we'll see in Article 5, the only person that seems to speak the truth on the pro-establishment side, is James Tien.
Is he still considered as a pro-establishment side?
Well, he says he is, so I'll continue to call him that. He went on Emily Lau's online show.
What a sweet picture.
What a sweet picture, yeah. Right? And he says on the show that during the Occupy movement, at least the latter parts of it, Lun Cheng-yin was talking to the officials in Shenzhen, because they usually don't come in here, their base of operations are there, that he got his marching orders there, and he relinquished Hong Kong autonomy to Shenzhen to tell him what to do, but it was the chief executive's job to solve this issue within his power, and he had the power. He can only ask the power when he can't handle it. So either A, he thought he couldn't handle it, or B, he relinquished too much power. And James Tien said that, quote, a chief executive must remember you are being the chief executive on behalf of Hong Kong. However, the chief executive sometimes gives me an impression he has failed to represent us Hong Kongers, Hong Kong in general. And this is coming from him, a supposed ally, even though he's ripped him before.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't really call him an ally anymore. And he said that Siwa Leung has automatically given up many rights we deserve under the basic law. This practice is worrying, because it's true. If this chief executive gives up this much power, the next one can't get it back.
Yeah, exactly. Just like, I think even for this free walker policy, they say that allowing mainland people to come to Hong Kong.
Yeah.
At that time in year 2003, I think the actually central government of PRC warned the Hong Kong government about that, because they said if you have this policy, it's very difficult to get it back.
Right.
Now we have the problem with these.
There you
people.
go. And he's completely right. James Tien is completely right. He's talking sense. If the pro-establishment will only talk sense instead of just shoving their noses up the CCP's rectum all day long, I'm sorry, but that's true. We would have a more fair, balanced system, but no, all they see is their name in lights up in the Great Hall of the People, where they'll be praised for their loyalty and love of their country, when they're selling out Hong Kong just to put forward their name. But then you got Ann Chang of the DAB saying everything's up for sale except your family. That explains it right there to me.
I think so too.
And things are so bad.
How
okay,
bad?
about this.
What can get worse?
In Article 6, things are so bad that an authoritative voice, okay? An authoritative voice, some anonymous authoritative voice. He said that if we don't pass this article, this election package, the CCP will give the orders to re-elect Siwa Leong, 1. And 2, he will introduce Article 23 national security legislation.
What kind of lobbying tactics is that?
Exactly. So he's so bad that they're threatening us that Siwa Leong will be re-elected if you don't pass this.
Oh my God, we have to pass it.
Yeah. Can it be any worse? And Article 23 will be reintroduced.
Oh my God, they will reintroduce it anyway.
It's like the two daggers into Hong Kong's heart that they want to plunge if we don't pass this package. That's how bad are these politicians?
I mean, as a one of the policy lobbyists in Hong Kong, I think these government people, they're really bad at it. They don't know how to sell it in a nice way. I mean, at least you have to package it. The way how they deal with this advertisement, the political advertisement recently, is also very bad too. It's just hard selling. They're not doing this. I mean, Hong Kong people.
Oh, the stuff on TV, you mean?
Yeah, you have to do it in
The Progressive Lawyers Group said that's illegal, but go ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they really have to, do it in a nice way and package it. Find someone who do marketing job.
Yeah, exactly. And no, not marketing job. Just give them politics 101 or talk to some veterans of Hong Kong politics. Anyways, we'll move on. Speaking of veterans, Article 7, Martin Lee, veteran of Hong Kong democracy.
Right.
He went to Canada and he spoke with the Canadian Foreign Affairs House of Commons Foreign Affairs Committee about Hong Kong, and he had some really good insights into how CCP behaves, how Canada should deal with China when it comes to Hong Kong and stuff like that. And then they send a letter to the Canadian Foreign Affairs Office saying, don't have it. You're interfering in Hong Kong internal affairs, the standard line they always use, blah, blah, blah.
But they're also interfering the
You're interfering in Canadian.
Yes.
It's just a House committee. He's not going into foreign affairs and saying, you must do this, you must do that. He gives it to the committee. The committee makes his recommendations and so on and so forth. It's just information gathering. But even that's somehow a threat to the internal workings of the mighty CCP.
But I'm quite surprised because Canada, usually we think that Canada is just out there and they don't really comment or making statements very to excite or to irritate other people. But this time the Canadian quite brave.
Because there's a couple of reasons for that. One is that they see China getting increasingly belligerent. 2, a lot of Chinese interests are in Canada buying up natural resources. I mean, they want it, but they also want to keep them in line, right? Unlike Britain, which seems to be like, which boot can I lick?
Keep kowtow.
Yeah, exactly. And also there are many Hong Kongers in Canada. Many. Right, especially during the exodus during the 80s and 90s.
You mean our ex-colony, Vancouver?
Well, there's Vancouver and Toronto and many other clusters of Hong Kongers that have lived in Hong Kong. They still care about Hong Kong, right? I think maybe they're getting to the MPs and saying you got to speak up for Hong Kong before CCP swallows it up whole and reneges on all its policies.
It will look back on the UK.
Speaking of the UK, we got Article 8, and this kind of explains a lot now to me about why Britain hasn't been taking the forefront. Article 8, at the forefront. They want to join the new rival to the World Bank that China's setting up with the BRICS countries and other countries, and the U.S. was even not very happy about this, but to be fair, not like the Americans doing much when it comes to Hong Kong either, right? And they want to join this bank, and no wonder they're not exactly speaking up for Hong Kong, even though they have a moral obligation under the joint declaration
I think
to do so.
One of these articles by a progressive lawyer group that recently in SCMP was that saying that don't rely on the UK to do anything.
Even Martin Lee, during the foreign affairs briefing that he gave, he was saying that their policy is more China trade. What can we do to get more China trade? You want to shut up? Great, right? So he was correct on that.
Can I give a shame on you to that country?
No, we got another one. Why don't you speak about our favorite EXCO committee member, Fanny Law?
That thing.
That thing.
Well, she's very pro-China, and then she actually worked for the Education Bureau before a long time ago, and I think quite a lot of teachers hate her so much. Now she's coming back, and she suggested that the teachers, when they receive the training, they should go to China for at least one semester to study.
Why?
Because they have to learn about China.
And how can they not do that, being in Hong Kong, a Chinese city?
Because in China you can get better information of China, I think.
I can do that sitting right here.
And she actually specifically mentioned that the law students should also go to China to study Chinese law. But I remember that
Chinese has law? Well, it has laws, they just don't follow it.
Right. I think 15 years ago when I studied law at Hong Kong U, and we do have the subject, or at least one semester learning the Chinese law as well. I don't understand why we have to go to China to learn
I think it's very important to understand their constitution, as well as certain aspects that can affect Hong Kong. That's fine, right? But after that, I don't see why it's important unless your plan is to practice law there.
Oh, you don't understand?
But maybe Fanny Law wants to do what Article 9 says. I think this is what she means by going there and learning and then coming back to teach kids this. As you can
Mommy, my mother is China.
Yeah, where they're constantly for 3 minutes it keeps repeating the same line. Let's see here. It says the word China says 130 times in this cartoon that's being shown in a Catholic school in the mid-levels, Sacred Heart Canossian School. I'm sure I'm butchering that. And over and over, it's your motherland. China is mother, which is fine. It's your motherland, but then you're saying the party is your mother.
Yeah, basically
that's disgusting.
Yeah, it reminds me one of these. I don't know whether it's true. Someone reported that the reporter asked Joshua one question, like when people always shouting at you at this Cantonese foul language, your mother, and then why are you always smiling? And then
something Lomo.
Yeah, and then Joshua one reply was that because China, my mother, and that's why I'm very welcome that you. My mother. I think that's quite witty.
Creative.
Yeah.
Creative. It's the motherland.
Yeah.
So if you're against it, would you be a MFer?
Put up a picture of that.
No, not on this show. Not on this show. Sorry. You can definitely search it on Google. So, I mean, this is the type of stuff that is creeping into our schools. And unless parents stand up hard and the public, that's when they pull it. Right now they're just trying to see what can we get away with. Let's put it here, let's try that, see how much of a reaction they're getting. It's on purpose, in my opinion. No proof, conjecture. But if I was thinking like them, that's what I'd do, is introduce stuff like that slowly. Okay, let's put in this, let's put in that, see how the reaction is. Eventually it might become so like, oh, again, you just kind of get used to it. Like some people have gotten used to, certain stuff that you would call a tyranny 50 years ago, but then all of a sudden it's like, no, it's for our security.
I think also Fanny Law using the wording quite disturbing to me, because she said we have to catch all these young teachers to go to. I mean, why you use the word catch? It's like, I mean, you're like a hunter or something. Why?
Sorry, I thought that's funny. You're hunting students.
Yeah.
And just final thing, Commerce Minister Guo Hu Cheng, sure I'm butchering that, says that they are going to adjust the multiple entry scheme for parallel traders and Shenzhen residents that come and go,
Right.
and mainland tourists, because our capacity is maxed out. And they haven't said what it is. They're just saying that due to the response of the negative reactions to this, they're going to adjust it. And of course, we will talk to Richard Scotford, who has been on the show before, independent journalist, who was there, and we'll discuss what happened the last couple of times and his thoughts on that. So we'll come back in the second half, and we'll talk to Richard Scotford.